From our studio in Georgetown, this is the TV Delmarva Channel 14 News at 4.
Good day, Delmarva. Reporter Rob Petrie here for TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Straight ahead, Delaware's overdose deaths increased more than 15% last year, setting a new record high. State police are searching for a Dover man wanted in connection with a shooting in Capitol Park, and a Seaford man was arrested on drug charges after police say he was caught with cocaine. These stories and more coming up, but weather first with Hunter Alton.
Hello and good Thursday, Delmarva. Well, it's been another day filled with clouds. Little bit of some minor isolated showers here and there, but hey, at least the good news is it was a few degrees warmer than it has been over the last couple of days. Taking a live look outside of TV Delmarva Studios here in Georgetown. We have plenty of thick cloud cover out there, but like I mentioned, at least we got a little bit warmer temperatures as well. Currently 71 degrees here in Georgetown. Take a look at satellite and radar, and that pesky little low just off of the coast of North Carolina is still there. But the good news is after today, it will finally die off and it will get absorbed into this other storm system that is further off towards the west. You can see that big swirl in the atmosphere over in Missouri, and that's going to be slowly moving our way going into tomorrow afternoon, and this is going to be the storm system that's going to be sparking some strong to severe thunderstorms as it drives a cold front through during the afternoon hours. Now let's have a look at those conditions elsewhere on Delmarva this afternoon. Like I mentioned, we had some warmer temperatures at least across the region, even though we've seen nothing but clouds. But currently 69 degrees right now in Salisbury, 68 for Pocomoke City. A little bit cooler closer towards the Atlantic, and Ocean City is 65, 72 for Easton, 71 for Centerville, 70 degrees for Dover, 72 in Wilmington, and currently 71 degrees in Newark. We are definitely starting to see a little bit more of a humid air mass moving in. Dew points have been in the mid and lower 60s for the most part, and even some upper 60s are showing up in areas of Talbot and Dorchester County. Now these will be on the increase, especially once we get into the day tomorrow, where we're going to be looking at dew points into the lower 70s. So it's going to be feeling like a fairly humid day out there. Take a look at current sustained winds. It has been light for the most part, generally from the southeast, between 5 and 10 miles per hour sustained, but we have been seeing some wind gusts as high as 15 miles per hour, like currently gusting to 12 in Georgetown, 11 for Salisbury, 13 for Pocomoke City, 10 miles per hour for Easton, 15 in Dover, and currently gusting to 14 in Wilmington. Now we do have the threat for some strong to severe thunderstorms during the afternoon hours tomorrow, but a nice holiday weekend is in store, and even some warmer temperatures going into next week, where we could be looking at 90 degrees once again. I have all the details regarding that storm threat here in just a little bit.
What health officials fear is another consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic. Delaware's overdose deaths increased by 15% last year to a new record high of 515 fatal overdoses. The staggering information was released as part of an annual report conducted by the Delaware Division of Forensic Science. They found that 425 of the 515 deaths involve fentanyl. That's a synthetic pain reliever that is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. The percentage of total overdose deaths in 2021 involving fentanyl did decline 0.7 of a percentage point from 2020. However, the Division of Forensic Science report also found a substantial increase in overdose deaths that involved cocaine, with the powerfully addictive stimulant found in 221 of the 515 individuals who died, an increase of almost 9 points from 2020. Now, of the overdoses, 334 occurred in Newcastle County, 94 in Sussex County, and 87 in Kent County. Well, police are searching for a Dover man who they say shot his neighbor during a dispute in Capitol Park. According to Delaware State Police, the incident occurred just before midnight Tuesday when troopers were called to the residences on Congress Place for reports of shots fired. The ensuing investigation revealed that 45-year-old Jaron Jones had been involved in an argument with a neighbor. Now, during the argument, police say Jones fired several shots towards the neighbor, which struck the victim, a 45-year-old Clayton man who was standing nearby. Jones then reportedly fled the area in a black Buick Enclave SUV and was last seen traveling northbound on Bay Road. The victim sustained gunshot wounds to his torso and his arm. He was transported to a nearby hospital where he remains in serious but stable condition. Attempts to locate Jones have been unsuccessful, and his current whereabouts are unknown at this time. Jones is described as a black male, 6 foot 3 inches tall, weighing around 215 pounds. Anyone with any information on Jones's whereabouts is urged to contact police. Meanwhile, Delaware State Police have arrested 36-year-old George Reha of Seaford on drug charges following a criminal investigation. According to State Police, around 12:46 p.m. Tuesday, troopers were called to a home in the 22,000th block of Ross Station Road in Seaford for reports of a disturbance. When troopers arrived, they made contact with a resident identified as 36-year-old George Reha. During the course of their investigation, police say Reha was found to be in possession of approximately 3.41 grams of cocaine, over 19 grams of marijuana, and more than $34,000 in suspected drug proceeds. Rio was taken into custody at the scene and charged with felony possession with the intent to deliver a controlled substance, possession of marijuana, and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was arraigned and committed to the Sussex Correctional Institution on $11,000 secured bond. Well, in case you missed it, the city of Lewis has hired a new lifeguard captain and announced that its beaches will be guarded this season. This comes after the town just weeks ago announced that Savannah Beach and Johnny Walker Beach would be unguarded after they struggled to find lifeguards. Well, we got a chance to sit down with Lewis City Manager Anne Marie Townsend, who said the town was able to turn things around.
I think the news media certainly helped us by putting out the problem that we were experiencing, that we were unable to recruit staff. And Captain Kent Buxton, who is the captain of the beach patrol at North Shores and for many years had been the captain of the Rehoboth Beach Patrol, reached out and he said he wanted to help us put together a beach patrol for the season. So he reached out to a person who guarded for him for about 10 years in Rehoboth, Strom Edwards, who's a full-time swim coach. And Strom was enthusiastic to come on as a captain for our lifeguards. And he and Kent have been working together to try to recruit. Between the two of them, they know a lot of people. And I think maybe that personal contact versus just responding to a job ad might make all the difference. So we're very excited. We still have a lot of work to do. We expect that it's going to be mid-June before we're fully staffed, but we are very optimistic, and we've had a lot, reached out to a number of people, and the publicity around this has actually helped us get some people who contacted us because they're interested in applying.
Now, the town hopes to have all of its beaches fully guarded by mid-June. The Delaware Division of Social Services will issue emergency benefits for the month of May to eligible households as part of the state's ongoing response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Benefits will be issued as part of the Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program and 2 cash assistance programs as well. The SNAP emergency food benefits will be available on EBT cards as soon as today, while cash assistance recipients will receive an emergency cash benefit check either today or sometime in the coming days. The emergency benefits will provide an extra $95 in assistance. Coming up, Delaware flags are being flown at half-staff today in solidarity with the victims of Tuesday's mass shooting at a Texas elementary school. More details straight ahead. Keep it here. As a mark of respect for the victims of the senseless acts of violence perpetrated by gunmen at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, President Biden has ordered flags at government buildings and facilities to be flown at half-staff until sunset on May 28th. In concurrence with the president's orders, Governor Carney has also ordered both U.S. and Delaware flags at state buildings and facilities to be flown at half-staff until that same time. At last check, a total of 19 children and 2 teachers were killed in the shooting. Well, it's looking like we're in store for mostly cloudy skies and mild conditions tonight as we get a preview of your pinpoint weather forecast with Hunter Alton.
We will continue to deal with the clouds going into the overnight hours tonight as our weak tropical origin low begins to finally die out. Tomorrow will feature much warmer temperatures as a cold front approaches, giving us the threat for some strong to severe thunderstorms in the afternoon hours. And we have a wonderful weather weekend ahead, going into Memorial Day with even warmer temperatures for the first few days of June. Now don't go anywhere, because when we come back, I'll give you the rundown of what to expect with those storms tomorrow here on TV Delmarva Channel 14 News. Alrighty, Delmarva, let's get right into the pinpoint forecast for the overnight hours into the day on Friday, because we got some fairly active weather expected by the afternoon hours on Friday, all thanks to a cold front moving through. But we're going to get through the overnight hours first. The good news is we're going to be done with the spotty showers with the influences of that tropical low in the area, but it's still going to be fairly cloudy for the most part, partly cloudy and mostly cloudy skies, 60 to 65 degrees across the region tonight, fairly mild with some light south winds at about 10 miles per hour. Take a look at Futurecast, rest of the overnight hours into the day on Friday. This is 8 o'clock this evening. We still got plenty of cloud cover here across areas of Delmarva, but we're starting to see a little bit of sunshine for areas of the western shore of Maryland with some fairly mild temperatures in the upper 60s to about 70 degrees. Going into just after midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, we may see a little break in clouds here and there, but it's still going to be a fairly cloudy night with some mild temperatures too, back down into the mid-60s. Waking up tomorrow morning, though, we're actually going to be warming up temperatures throughout the morning hours because our winds are going to be switching towards the south, and that's going to be allowing a lot more warmer air to filter in as we're waking up at 8 o'clock in the morning tomorrow in the upper 60s to about 70 degrees. Once we get into the afternoon hours, though, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we got widespread areas of temperatures in the low to mid 80s, but if you take a look over towards our west, we have a line of storms that's beginning to develop just east of the Appalachian Mountains along a cold front, and that's going to be in our neck of the woods during the mid-afternoon hours. So we're going to be looking at a couple of line segments of some strong to even severe thunderstorms across the area between the time period about 5 and 10 o'clock during the evening hours, at least for here on Delmarva, and about 3 to 5 for areas of the Maryland western shore. And then by 10 o'clock in the evening, we're starting to see the back edge of that cold front, still dealing with some light to moderate rainfall behind that, but temperatures are going to be remaining fairly mild for the most part during the overnight hours tomorrow night as we get in towards the holiday weekend. Friday forecast overall, we got partly sunny skies. Watch out for some areas of some strong thunderstorms in the afternoon hours. Very mild temperatures of 80 to 85 degrees. Not to mention, it's going to be fairly humid too, as our dew points are going to be near 70 degrees. And we got some breezy conditions from the south between 10 and 15 miles per hour. So what are the storm threats going into Friday? Well, we are going to be looking at the chance of maybe an isolated tornado, a little bit on the low side, but as far as for large hail, we could be looking at a moderate standard for that. We could be seeing some hailstones, especially with the strongest of storms, up to the size of ping pong balls, which is about 1.5 inches in diameter. But the main threat is going to be damaging wind gusts. No surprise, that's pretty much the main threat we always get here on Delmarva, where we could be looking at some wind gusts 50 to 70 miles per hour, which could knock down some tree limbs and maybe cause a few sporadic power outages here and there. And we have a little bit of a flood threat as well, because we're getting into like a really humid environment And no surprise, being in the summer season, the atmosphere can hold a lot more liquid in it. So we could be looking at some flooding concerns, maybe a few spotty flooded areas with rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour, or even a little bit higher, depending on how strong these storms will develop along that line tomorrow. Now, the big question I get all the time, anytime that we have the threat for severe weather is, what is the tornadic threat? Well, the good news is, if you didn't know, we do have 2 specific parameters here at TV Delmarva, and only available at TV Delmarva, to help forecast tornadoes here in the region. And tomorrow we're going to be using the tornadic tilting and stretching parameter, which is geared towards lower instability and higher wind shear, which is what this environment will be tomorrow. And a scale of 1 to 10, we got areas about 1 to 1.5, especially focused in areas of Baltimore, Washington, D.C., La Plata, all the way up towards Newark. That's about a 10 to 15% chance that these storms tomorrow may contain a tornadic risk, even though it is fairly low, but it is not impossible. And as that tornado threat begins to weaken as we get closer towards the Atlantic coast, which is some good news, but because the main threat will be wind damage with these storms tomorrow. And not only that, we have the chance for some flooding concerns as well. All these areas that you see in this yellow in northwestern Delmarva and the Maryland Western Shore from the Weather Prediction Center, we do have an excessive rainfall risk, a slight risk at that, a level 2 out of 4 risk for potential, maybe seeing some flooding concerns here and there, basically just west of the Chesapeake Bay. Now, after I got all the severe weather covered, let's take a look at the marine conditions going into Friday, because we're getting very, very close towards the holiday season and as well as the start of beach weather season. So here's the Atlantic outlook going into tomorrow. We got scattered thunderstorms, 71 degrees. That water temperature has dropped a few degrees as well thanks to the onshore flow, so still fairly cool at 64 degrees. Winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour with seas of 2 to 4 feet. Take a look at the Delaware Bay, scattered thunderstorms as well, 74 degrees, winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour with seas of around 1 foot expected. And then the Chesapeake Bay, scattered thunderstorms, 76 degrees, winds from the south at 10 to 15 miles per hour with seas of around 1 foot expected on the Chesapeake Bay. Now, going into the overnight hours tomorrow night, we're still going to be having the leftover scattered thunderstorms earlier on, but we're still going to be having some on and off showers throughout the night. And another night is some fairly mild temperatures too, 65 to 69 degrees. And we're still going to be looking at some breezy conditions too from the south between 10 and 15 miles per hour. Now, what the forecast everyone has been waiting for is going into this holiday weekend, because it's the unofficial start to the summer season here on Delmarva, and we got some nice weather to go along with it. Once we get past this cold front tomorrow with the thunderstorm chances, our rain chances begin to deplete, and we're going to be warming things up too. Going into Memorial Day, 84 degrees, partly sunny skies, and then into the mid and late portions of next week, we're going to be well into the 80s and definitely even a chance for some 90s, especially for Tuesday and Thursday, with plenty of sunshine to go along with it.
Coming up, former President Barack Obama has come under fire for linking the deadly mass shooting at a Texas elementary school to the death of George Floyd. More details straight ahead. Don't go away. Former President Barack Obama has come under fire for linking the deadly mass shooting at that Texas elementary school to the death of George Floyd. Obama tweeted the following message Wednesday saying, quote, "As we grieve the children of Uvalde today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years has passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us all to this day, especially those who loved him." Now, conservative pundits, of course, were quick to jump on what Obama said, condemning his words and arguing that he was taking away from the tragedy that happened in Texas. A total of 19 children and 2 teachers were killed after a gunman opened fire at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas earlier this week. The gunman was killed by responding officers.
Weather Classroom is sponsored by No Nonsense Office Machines, committed to providing quality products and services with over 15 years of experience here in Sussex County. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, today's weather lesson we will be talking about another brand new parameter we came up with here at TV Delmarva to help combat tornado forecasting within storms in the near-time future, known as tornadic tilting and stretching. Similar properties to our Tornadic Energy Helicity Index, or THI for short, but it's geared towards events in the cooler seasons where instability is much lower, but the shear is much higher. These conditions are also very common here on Delmarva, where instability is hard to come by from time to time, but the wind shear is absolutely tremendous. TTS focuses on storm relative helicity in the lowest kilometer of the atmosphere, and CAPE, also known as instability, in the lowest 3 kilometers of the atmosphere. The presence of both ingredients suggests potential for increased low-level tilting and stretching of horizontal streamwise vorticity within the updraft, and in layman terms, basically taking rolling columns of air and tilting them into the vertical inside of the updraft, which may increase the potential for tornadic supercells. Enhancements are added based on total CAPE and deep layer shear that strengthens the overall updraft. LCL heights, which is the lowest portions of the cloud base, and convective inhibition are used as limiting factors when they are too high or large. In preliminary testing, values approaching 2 and greater suggest the potential for tornadic supercells. This experimental parameter is intended to help diagnose environments supporting tornadoes where total CAPE values is relatively small but promotes significant streamwise vorticity.
Well, that about does it for us today, Delmarva. Be sure to follow us on Facebook at TV Delmarva and on our website, tvdelmarva.com, for real-time news and weather updates. And while you're there, be sure to sign our petition calling on the major cable providers to carry TV Delmarva on their platforms so we can provide this kind of local programming to all of Delmarva. Until next time, I'm Rob Petrie reporting for TV Delmarva, Channel 14 News.